All right, we have the first story here, Vanguard and the news pages there. Bobrisky's matter still on the table. Bobrisky, FG suspends prison officers as reps probe EFCC prison service.
It's a mess. It's a big mess that shouldn't have happened. And in spite of what happened, I was following the story. All of you know that there's this gentleman called Very Dark Man, and he had this recording of Bobrisky saying that he was able to pay his way through the EFCC dropping charges. It wouldn't be surprising to anybody. These things happen every day. When I heard some people express surprise, I was saying, but you know the country you're in, these things happen all the time. Also, the issue of the fact that Bobrisky said that he stayed in an apartment and so on and so forth. This has been happening since when I was in secondary school, especially at that time in the 70s in the north. It was very prevalent. You have all kinds of arrangements at that time. Some reports in the prison like going to work at 6 o'clock in the morning for patrol, and by 2 p.m. they're back home in the comfort and arms of their loved ones, and weekends they take off. In those days then, I don't know about now, some prisoners are allowed home for weekends. So all these are arrangements. We have a former governor who had a set of twins whilst he was in prison, and no questions asked as to where the deed was done. And I don't think it was the first time that happened. It must have been done repeatedly before he scored a goal, before he scored a 1-1 goalless draw.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
So these things happen, and because it's a complete mess. The federal government is responding to something that they actually know always happens. You need to go. God forbid that you ever have anything to do in prisons. In prisons, you can hire a guy, you can hire a houseboy, do things. We know these things. They do happen. And so the federal government, and I'm glad they responded, if anything, to put some control on the impunity that we have in the system, where you believe that anything goes. So the suspended officers of the Nigerian Correctional Center, they suspended the following: Michael Anugwa, Deputy Controller of Corrections, in charge of Medium Security Custodial Center, Kirikiri. Sikiru Adekunle, Deputy Controller of Corrections, in charge of Maximum, Kirikiri. Also, the board has suspended ASC Ogbule Obina, who was at a Medium Security Custodial Center in Afikpo, for allegedly accompanying a convicted inmate out of the correctional center to a location outside the facility. In another related development, the board has equally suspended another senior officer of the service, Iluafonsi Kelvin Ikechukwu, Deputy Controller of Corrections, Kuje Abuja, for allegedly receiving monies. So they are now digging up all these. If this Bobrisky thing hadn't come, only God knows, we wouldn't have known. Meanwhile, the House of Reps have said that they want to probe the EFCC and the prisons service. I'd plead with the House of Reps to concentrate more on things that will make life better for Nigerians and not put their hands in every pie, just to appear to be working to the people. The government has set up a probe. I think that should suffice, in all honesty. I don't think it's something. Anyway, it's a bit messy, especially again the one that concerns somebody that we all love, Falz and Femi Falana and so on and so forth. And I would have thought that maybe the recording was false until Falz said that rather than them phoning Bobrisky, it was Bobrisky that called them to ask for assistance and so on and so forth. Now, as an analyst, I also want to plead with you to be open-minded. I've always known this gentleman called Bobrisky to be a gasser. He's one has to be careful. Let me put it that way with the things that come from him. But what if Bobrisky had expanded and was gassing to these people, and at the end of the day he was actually in prison? What if he was trying to boast to look big? Because like my very good friend will say, people these days, everybody is looking for validation, public validation. Everybody wants to show how important, how well connected, how this and that. What if, okay, he was actually in prison? Because if you look at the story very well, he said on his way from court, there was a call and he was diverted. Now, I know that is very, very, no matter how highly placed that person is very, very unlikely to happen. What might most likely happen is he will have to be registered in prison in the first place. His photographs taken. I'd be surprised if that didn't happen. But according to what that conversation said, there was a call and he was directed to a flat, a ready-made flat, just like that. So you need to take these things with a pinch of salt, but I'm not going to waste any time. Let's just see what will come out of it. A lot of us have better things to do with our times. All these are complete distractions when we're all trying hard to survive. Generally, I think what the social media has done is, if care is not taken, it's going to turn a lot of us into layabouts. Nigerians at this point in time need to be focused on things that will get them out of the current problem that they're in. These are complete distractions from the exercise. I'm also glad to know that the EFCC has ordered a probe. When you are chastising the EFCC, or when you want to blame them for this, remember that there are characters in all agencies, including the church, including everywhere. So you don't rub them with just one brush. The EFCC has done the needful. The Oga Patapata has ordered a probe. And let's just be patient with and say, in the meantime, please try and think about how you are going to get your next meal for the day, which every day is becoming more and more of a Herculean task.
Well, a lot to talk about. You've said it all, sir. It's interesting reminder that a former governor,
yes,
his wife had a set of twins while he was in there.
Yeah, that's what I said, a former governor. And I don't think it was the first hit. Yeah. He would have made a few trials here and there before he could. So, listen.
It's nothing new.
We know former VIP. We know those who don't. We also know that there are people who pay. Yeah. There are people lined up in the prisons right there now, right in the federal of the prisons, who could do your jail time for you. They pick up your name and so on and so forth. So you could find yourself through the border and go to Europe or whatever. The guy would gladly, on about, maybe at one time it was about 150,000 a month, you pay him a salary to stay in prison.
For you.
For you. I mean, so these things have been going on. It's all a reflection.
You know the VIP section?
The VIP section is all a reflection of it's all a reflection of the kind of, but it happens all over the world, though. The kinds of things
true.
go on in
Very
prisons.
true. Very true.